Hello and welcome back to another episode of Review Your Death Clips. My name is Aiken. I have played quite a bit of World of Warcraft Hardcore. I have leveled every class to level 60, did all of the content including killing KT on both sides. So let's jump right into it and see what kind of death clips we have today. Alright, first death of today is coming from Griever. Interesting name. Or in Maraudon, this guy is 54, have an above 50 group. Tank is a little bit on the lower end, but definitely doable, so let's go.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
Oh, I can see what's going to happen. Let me take a guess. We're seeing a patrol coming. You're not safe there. Alright, let's break this down a little bit. What did the Warlock even say before hearthing out? If it goes bad, I'll Earthbind and Weak Hide. So for starters, these dinosaurs here, the Pterodox, no, it's Dinosaurs, they are having a silence, an AoE silence. You never want them in your caster camp, and typically you're binding them up. A warrior tries to get threat, and then everybody AoEs. The group definitely can do that. Unfortunately, a Hydra comes in, totems full. Okay, that's not great, but not bad either.
I am very...
They had a Rogue. Rogue hasn't done their job because they could have just distracted. And then we do have Pawn You,
very sneaky, sir.
who is doing exactly that. Starts Heartstoning. It's full hit points. And they have a melee-only group, so Enhancer Shaman, a Rogue, and a little bit low Warrior. So far, still fine. I mean, Blade Flurry and Sweeping Strikes, and I should be okay. I'm Audi, says Pawn You. Okay. Then there is a knockback from the Hydra. And one of the Maraudons is coming for the healer. At this point, I'm the body. Should have taunted it off. Didn't do so. And here's what I don't understand. I mean, for starters, the Maraudons are fearable. It's not like the elementals. They seem to have cleared most of the stuff. I'm seeing a dead Hydra here. So even if there's one or two Hydras still running around, they are not social with the Diamatrodons. So what you're going to see is a fear here would solve that entire situation. Mind you, Fate is also not on cooldown whatsoever. So that's a bit of an issue. Shields himself, generating more threat. Then gets silence, so that was the opportunity of going. But he's already left the group, so in a way he's true to his name and definitely grieves. This one here is what I don't understand and where I think it becomes a bit strange. So if your mind is already set on, you know what, it's 40 seconds, we will not survive that. I don't want to go into a late petri, that's all fine and good, but he could, since he has zero aggro on himself, he could simply heal the warrior and then petri. There's the Diamatrodon, and with him petrying here, warrior is now left to take up the slack and then dies. So there's an old saying going, If the tank dies, then it is the healer's fault. If the healer dies, it's the tank's fault. And if DPS dies, it's quote-unquote funny or their own fault. Seeing at the damage meter, I think the rogue tried to do what they can in order to salvage the situation. Shaman just has a suboptimal spec, but I mean, can't really fault them. If they want to play enhancement, then that is fine. It's mainly around the warlock that is leaving a party of 4, but that is still manageable. And then this here is definitely not a very nice play. I would say borderline griefing. I mean, he himself does have 1.6k hit points, so yeah, I can see why he would be afraid of the threat of the Hydras, because they can thrash and that would kill him. But then again, he's running from wherever he was running all the way to here. I don't see a lot of spells on him. He does have a renew on himself. Because the video cuts, I can't really judge that. So here he leaves party, gives himself a shield, which is false. He should have likely just used the fear. Here he's at half health. Okay, fair enough. Has himself in target. Clearly only thinks about himself. There's a renew ticking. He does have shield cooldown. He does have desperate prayer cooldown. So there are a couple of things that he could actually do in order to still be successful. He has swiftness pot and swifty stopwatch both ready, so he could kite together with the warrior a little bit more. I would even argue it's unnecessary to Petri here if you play it right. Self shield, renew on the warrior. Fear is ready as far as his UI shows me, so he could just go in and fear again. The warrior can fear, so they could all survive in a sense if this guy wouldn't be a coward. So that gets its minus points from me, potentially panic, but still that's not a good thing to do. Clearly healer's fault that the tank died here because he wasn't really trying. Alright, let's move on to the next. Alright, that is an interesting one from Zico. Clearly very good PvPer in World of Warcraft, maybe best mage there is.
I'm dead. I'm actually dead.
In PvP. He goes into the BRD, UBRS, arena, and bypasses his team, clearly not paying attention. So let's just see how it plays out, and then I'll give my commentary. I already know this one.
There's one behind us, guys. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a pull behind you guys. I think it's only one though. I think it's only one. Pick it up, pick it up. Shit, I'm dead.
How do we actually help him?
I'm dead too,
I'm
guys.
dead, I'm 100% dead.
Kill the veteran.
Hopping
Yeah,
on.
I should have heard it, man. Fuck me, I'm dead.
Wait, we need to get out too then, right?
Yes, get out.
How many mods?
I just used a metapod though. I just used a metapod.
Yes, but he started the event, is what he is saying.
We're just leaving. We are just leaving.
We just
We're
run
leaving.
out of
Right
the
there, the
event.
pack over there.
Mark somebody, and then we all leave. Follow the person.
We're all dropping down here. Mary, drop in here. Drop in
Yeah,
here.
everybody drop down right now.
It hurts.
Alright, let's review that a bit frame by frame. So I'll start reviewing it essentially here, where he realizes that not only has he pulled from behind, but he also started the event. So for those unaware, a bit of context information is the Rend Blackhand event. Nefarian and Rend Blackhand stand up here, and then there are 8 waves of always 1 or 2 of these larger elites, plus a couple of smaller dragons. Now, problem with them is they can't be slowed and movement impaired, which means a lot of the toolkit of the mage here goes out of the window. The other problem is for mage themselves, they are hitting relatively hard. So, for starters, first things first, if you would be in this very situation, the only correct play here is to Hearthstone out and then basically leave that. There is another, okay, here they are playing without Petri, so I'll just take that into consideration. There is another option. He's currently in combat. There is the option that you're immediately saying, Meteors, summon me, summon me, summon me, summon me. Then you get the summon. The summon will be grayed out because you are currently in combat. Then you cold snap ice block, which takes you out of combat. You can take the summon and you would get onto the other side to them. So that's the second option that he has. Other than that, there are no survivability options. So mistake number one, and the PvPer likely doesn't do that, but mistake number one, on his bars he hasn't bound the Heartstone. I might get flagged for that, but the amount of time where you have where it has saved me to have a fixed binding on Heartstone, to A, see whether the cooldown is up, or B, to just know I can now do it immediately and I don't waste any time. It's more than I could count, and that has nothing to do with roaching. This is just him against basically an event. So he fails to do that, which means he now still has both of these outs. He plays with newcomers, so they are all starting to clutter comms and nobody takes charge. An experienced player would have said shut up. Meters you start to summon, Gurenian and Triumph, or Gurenium and Pokey, you're now immediate, that's the healer, but basically two range DPS, you're helping to summon, and they focus on doing only that because they can get him out. And although the event started, the mobs of the event will not go through the gate. So that is how the others could have reacted. But assuming that that is not possible, there are very few things that are working in his favor. So starting here, seeing that these mobs are coming and knowing that you have two of your major cooldowns running, he can immediately cold snap here. There is nothing that he needs to save the cold snap for. Second knowledge gap that Zico had is he's going to try to slow them, also not working, simply isn't. So the only out for him at this point is not to start Heartstone, because they will be at him quicker. The important cooldowns for him is Nifty Stopwatch, the grenades, because they can be disoriented, although I wouldn't go for that, and target dummy. And he is almost hitting all of them right away. So he's getting interrupted in the Heartstoning. Notice they hitting way too hard, tries to slow them, which by the way already didn't work when he was jumping into the arena. So at this point he buys himself a little bit of time, and that's why Ice Block is so great. He basically puts up barrier just to get to allow for a couple of hits to work. Mana Shield would be an option as well, but then he essentially at this point here blocks to buy time. The block is really helpful because the whelps will come and stand right next to the block. You can see him thinking about what he needs to do, and believe it or not, at this point he's still not dead. He could play it correctly, but there is only one out left at this point. You can see the team outside is having a rough time as well, so many of them at half health, indicating they're fighting the backup. So hear me out. The right play here is you immediately target dummy like he's doing, into a blink, into a Nifty Stopwatch, and you go behind this corner and start the cast. Look at what I'm saying. He does that and blinks. Now, if he Nifty Stopwatches and runs to here, he has, for the duration of this move, a higher movement rate than they would have, and being behind this corner gives him basically a line of sight so that all of the whelps can't interrupt him. On top of that, I would Mana Shield, because it's still going to be very close. You can Mana Shield whilst you're running. Nifty doesn't proc the global cooldown. So if he would not do that, but do what I just said, look at how far the Heartstone is going.
And then we all leave. Follow the person.
And what effectively kills him. He's now getting casted on. The cast itself will reach him before he gets out.
Drop down right now.
It hurts.
But also the hit gets him. Good play, Zico. I mean, many people wouldn't have even gotten that far. He's unhappy with his own performance, and I can understand that. But bottom line here is use line of sight and just get a little bit further away, and you would have been fine. Hard death though. Alright, last death of today is coming in from Donkey Quest in Redridge Mountains.
Say how much. Hey dude, heal me. I'm gonna... Oh, he's healing me. Okay. I wasn't sure when it was gonna come.
He's not out of the woods.
Yeah, heal me. No!
That doesn't help.
Dude, heal me! Heal me! Oh, I died.
Okay, well, that is a lot to unpack here. Definitely a newer player, so not 100% sure what to say about this. So this is where it starts, right? Let's take a couple of looks on his UI and what he could do better. These are even level mobs. I've mentioned it a couple of times. The warrior has a pretty hard time in leveling in World of Warcraft due to the way that weapon skills and just melee works. You are far superior to lower level enemies, and higher level enemies therefore are far superior to you, meaning as a warrior you should always punch down and never punch up, specifically if you don't want to die. Now, there's a bit of a problem with these spiders in particular, that players do not realize the poison that they are doing stacks up, and it is not a small task. You can see it hits for 12, but if you have 2 or 3 on them, it's 36 damage every 3 seconds, and at level, I would assume roughly around 20, he has like 500 hit points, unless he's twinked out. I'm not seeing any major buffs. Another issue is Battle Shout is about to fade. He isn't refreshing that right away. So he then charges past a Tarantula into another Tarantula. No clue what he's thinking. These are equal level mobs. He doesn't have any major buffs, so there is definitely a knowledge gap here, but there's also a pretty sizable execution issue. So what does he do? He refreshes Battle Shout. That's okay. Then we're fast forwarding. He does have Bloodlust on, and you can see we're having multiple. We're having still stacks of poison. If there are coming multiples, he will be even more in trouble. Both of them are still fairly healthy. He's at 50%. There's the point in time where you hamstring and just try to get out, but you're not sticking around for that. So that's an issue. What makes matters worse at this point is he would have the perfect tool to counter all of this, because he's a dwarf, and with his racial stone form he could get shed off all of the extra damage from poison, just eliminate it. He makes himself immune to that for 10 seconds, and he reduces the damage incoming, so that would be the right play. Another issue that I'm seeing is we're halfway in the fight. I'm not seeing any demoralizing shout. Absolute bread and butter when you're leveling and you're fighting against somewhat harder enemies. This is the first thing that you're doing. I'm okay with him not thunderclapping, that's whatever, but I'm not really seeing a demo shout. Instead, he's focusing very much on cleave, which, yet again, player knowledge gap. I'm assuming he's arms spec'd. But the right thing to do here is, at the very beginning levels, rend is actually still quite good for 10 rage. Later it becomes less and less prominent, so at least the main target should be rendered, and then he should be fishing for over power procs and using heroic strikes if his rage permits, because 2 lower targets still equal a lot of pain that you're getting. It just doesn't make it any better. On the plus side, he does have a potion. On the minus side, he has marbles and oil of Olaf, which I assume is a typical quest reward that you can get that gives you 50 armor, so you should be using that. And he has the candles from the starting zone, which he's also not using. So completely oblivious. He's on hardcore, relying on a Rendo to come in and heal him. At this point, mind you, he has 3 dots, Each of them ticks for 12 every 3 seconds for 30 seconds. So these two here are still having like 170, and depending on how often that ticks, around 200 hit points worth of damage in them. Mind you, the full bar is 500, so this is effectively gone, and there is no bandaging off of that. So even if he would be potting here, that would be very difficult. On top of it, assuming where he currently is at, he's just crit for 24 by a spider. He's maybe at 70 health, just waiting for that heal to come in. 12, 12, and 12, that would be 36, and another crit and a normal hit would already kill him at this point without giving him reaction time to pot, which means the player already misunderstands or misplays his hand, just waiting for that to come in. Huge misplay. He then gets healing, still doesn't use the Dwarven Racial because, you know, 200 hit points prevented. It's whatever. And that was 173 from Holy Shock, and 3... Yeah, so it was overall 322. Was just a Holy Light, which means my assessment of his health is accurate. So he then proceeds to kill both of the spiders. Thanks the guy who's, by the way, now in dire straits of needing to heal himself. These dire condors do have swoop as an ability, which you see interrupts casting and knocks down. He spends time in being kind and making a new friend. Whilst I appreciate kindness, it's the wrong time. He's just not taking it serious. He still has 3 dots, which alone would kill him, and he enters combat and then pulls another spider. So at this point, he pots with... Oh, he has already potted. He's still not using Dwarven Racial form, and you can see 12, 13. He puts on Retaliation, which is completely wasted in this part. No Demo Shout, not a shield in hand, nothing. He could have still marbled, which gives them a pretty sizable miss chance. So there are options. I'm not even going into the fact that he doesn't have engineering, which could solve this. He dodges twice and then eventually gets shut down. So yeah, that's a long list of things that he could have done better. I think that's a fair ending of today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and see you on the next episode. Bye bye.